Okay, here we are live. Welcome, welcome everyone to our Unlimited Network Mastermind dedicated to prosperity consciousness, to conscious entrepreneurs. And today is Saturday, September 26th. Oh my gosh, we're already at the end of September. And welcome, welcome, Candace.
Good morning.
And yes, and welcome to everyone. The ones that we are here on this side, like enjoying chatting and offering our gifts and wisdom. And the ones that you are in the other side, and I know there is some people there too. And just thank you. And I appreciate that we take the time to change our own consciousness and to learn how to manifest our business desires, in this case as entrepreneurs, let's say, but from a place of allowing, no efforts, really, really understanding that consciousness is our beingness, and we have access to that. And we are really, I mean, personally, I'm dedicated to really learn the lessons of creation, the laws of creation of the universe, and to embody it, and to switch, this business world from effort and struggle and scarcity to flowing, joy, and having fun on the way, and certainty, that prosperity and abundance is our right. And I really see that Abraham Hicks, that is the book that we are studying right now, is an incredible, I would say, teaching path or way to get it in, like to really understand it and to have the clear intention of what works for us or not. And as you know, we are all working now with Money and the Law of Attraction from Abraham Hicks here. I need to tell you that we stopped last time in page 48. Candace, I messed up with the number last time. But we will start today reading on page 48. So if you want to look already on your book, great. What I will recommend all of us is to take your pen and paper, and anything that, shakes you, resonates, or intrigues you, like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? Take notes, and we talk a little bit later after the reading. That's the way that we work here. And to jump into where we are going to study today, I just want to remind that last week we were studying a part of this, let's call chapter or part of the book, where it was really we start to master, that to realize that we have the choice of how we want to feel. It's like, sometimes we are victim of our feelings or whatever, but we are learning here, that we can choose how we want to feel, the feeling that we want to experience here. And how important was, or the way that she says here, or Abraham says here, is like, there is nothing more important than to feel good. And it's kind of simple, like, okay, just feel good. Well, when you don't feel so good, to invoke the feeling good is what we are learning here, because when we feel good, super, we already are, right? But when there is some contradiction, there is some disappointment, there is some, remain scarcity consciousness of, it's not possible, or it's not happening yet, impatience, all these shadows that we have, to really play with it and to say, okay, maybe that's the way I feel right now, but how do I want to feel? And I really look for deepening this understanding and practice. I was all week, like, okay, oh my gosh, first you become conscious of how you feel. That I think is already super big step, because many of us, we are not even connected with our physical body or emotional body, so it's very nice to check in and to realize that the most important thing is to feel good, to really allow that frequency in. And without that, I just would like to welcome Doc Fran, that is the one that really helped us to read these books and to take the important sides of it, to integrate that. So Doc Fran, if you are ready, we can start to read, and then we have enough time to share between us. And yes, welcome and thank you, Doc Fran.
All right. 1 second. Good.
He dematerialized. Oh, here he came back. Good. Well done.
What's that?
You mastered dematerializing and appearing again?
Oh yeah, I do that at will now. I want to acknowledge, Monica, you have hit on arguably the most important teaching to literally apply to our lives, and that is making yourself feel good, allowing yourself to feel good all the time, regardless of what's going on. And I just want to point out that there was a kind of an exercise that that the Hicks pointed out to us last week in the readings, and that is that the last thing you do as you're going to sleep at night is to lay there and reflect on what happened that day that made you feel good, and focus strictly on what was feeling good that day. Because, as they point out quite accurately, when you're asleep, you're not attracting anything. And so your mind will continue to work on what the last thoughts you put in it were. And when you wake up in the morning, you rehabilitate that by laying there and finding good feeling thoughts, so that you literally start your day feeling good. Well, I actually put that into practice since last Saturday, and it's been a pretty amazing week in terms of how effective that simple action is. And, you know, it's like, oh, Christ, what do I have to add another thing to my regimen? Oh, my God, you know, this is, but believe me, the impact from it for such a small amount of work or effort on our parts, the payback is enormous. So if you didn't start that last week yourselves, I would highly urge each and every one of you to start tonight. It's never too late to start. And the great news is you can start from right where you are, because that's the only place you can start from. All right. Well, let's get on with page 48. I'm excited. We're going to actually finish the first section of the book today. And just to go back, section 1 was entitled Pivoting and the Book of Positive Aspects. So we've learned an awful lot of exciting things and techniques and tips and rationales for why pivoting and the Book of Positive Aspects actually works. So let's wrap this up today and see what we can do with it next month. Our friend Jerry asked of us, "It seems to me that the majority of my discomfort is felt because I'm observing others who are in pain. How could I use the pivoting process to not feel pain about their pain?" We explained, whatever the subject of your attention, it contains things you want to see as well as things you do not want to see. The pain you are feeling is not because the person you are observing is in pain. Your pain is because you have chosen to look at an aspect of them that causes you to feel pain. There is a big difference. Of course, if this person were not feeling pain but were instead joyful, it would be easier for you to feel joyful. But you must not rely on conditions changing in order to control the way you feel. You must improve your ability to focus positively regardless of the condition. And to do that, it helps to remember every subject. Let me turn my screen on here. There we go. Can you see me now? Regardless of the condition. And to do that, it helps to remember that every subject has wanted and unwanted within it, and that if you are deliberate, you can find something that feels better. Of course, it is easier just to observe something that is right before your eyes than it is to deliberately sift for things that you would prefer to see. However, when it really matters to you that you feel good, you will be less willing to merely lazily or sloppily observe, for your desire to feel good will inspire a greater willingness to look for positive aspects. Also, the more often you do look for good feeling things to focus upon, the more of those kinds of good feeling things the law of attraction will bring to you, until in time you will be so positively oriented that you simply will not notice the things that don't match your positive orientation. A mother once said to us in response to our advising her to ignore her son's problems, "But won't he feel like I've abandoned him? Shouldn't I be there for him?" We explained to her that there is no abandonment in focusing upon the positive aspects of her son's life. And there is powerful value in abandoning any thoughts that do not feel good when you think about them. We said, "Will you never help anyone by being their sounding board for problems or complaints?" That's a really important sentence, folks. By holding an image of improvement in your son's life, you help him move toward that. Be there for him and call him there to a better feeling place. When it is your deliberate intention to feel good and you really care about how you feel, you will find more and more thoughts about more and more subjects that do feel good. And then you'll be better prepared to interface with others who could be feeling good or bad. Because of your desire to feel good, you will have pre-paved your experience with others with whom you will be interacting. And then it will be much easier for you to focus positively about their situation, no matter what sort of mess they are in. But if you have not been tending to your own vibration and you have not been consistently holding yourself in good feeling thoughts and vibrations, then you may be swept into their situation and you may very well feel discomfort. We just want to emphasize that you are not feeling their pain caused by their situation, but instead you are feeling your own pain brought about by your own thinking. There is great control in that knowledge and, in fact, true freedom. When you discover that you can control the way you feel because you can control the thoughts you think, then you are free to joyously move about your planet. But when you believe that the way you feel is dependent upon the behavior or situation of others, and you also understand that you have no control over those behaviors or situations, you do not feel free. That, in fact, was the pain you were describing. My sympathy is of no value to anyone, Jerry said to us. So when I take my attention off those who are in trouble, I'll feel good, but still that doesn't help them feel better. Sorry.
Nancy Clark. You can't come to the phone right now, but if you would leave us a message with the time and date of your call and a return number.
All right. Sorry.
We have an important man here.
Oh, I forgot to unplug my phone this morning. It hasn't rung for days.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Okay. Jerry said to us, so when I take my attention off of those who are in trouble, I'll feel good. But still, that doesn't help them feel better. In other words, I haven't solved the problem. I'm just avoiding the problem. We replied, if you do not focus upon their problem, you can continue to feel good, but they will still have the problem. That is true at first. But if you do focus upon their problem, you feel bad. They continue to feel bad, and they still have the problem. And if you continue to focus on their problem, you will have the problem, too, in time. However, if you do not focus upon their problem, but instead try to imagine their solution or a positive outcome, you feel good. And there is then the possibility of your influencing them to more productive thoughts and outcomes. In simple terms, you are never of value to another and you never offer a solution when you are feeling negative emotion, because the presence of negative emotion within you means you are focused upon the lack of what is wanted rather than what is wanted. So, if someone is having a bad experience and they come into your awareness with a powerful wind of negativity wrapped around them, if you have not already deliberately achieved your alignment with feeling good, you may be swept into their negativity. You may become part of their chain of pain, and you may very well pass your discomfort on to another, who will then pass it on to another, and so on. But if you have deliberately been setting the tone of your day by putting your head on your pillow each night and saying, tonight as I sleep, all attraction will stop, which means tomorrow I will have a new beginning. And tomorrow I will look for what I am wanting to see because I want to feel good. Because feeling good is the most important thing. Where have I heard that before? As you awaken in the morning, you will be upon a fresh path, bringing no negativity from the day before. And then, as you walk into a room and you see someone with pain coming toward you, as this person comes with his or her pain, you do not become part of it, but instead you provide a better example of happiness. For that which you feel is that which you radiate. Now, it is not likely that just because you remain happy, others will immediately join you in your happiness. In fact, when there is a great disparity between the way you are feeling and the way others are feeling, you have a difficult time relating to one another. But in time, if you maintain your positive vibrational stance, they will either join you in your positive place or they will vibrate right out of your experience. The only way unhappy people can stay in your experience is by your continuing attention to them. If you and two other people are walking along a mountain ledge and you're not watching where you're going and stumble and fell over the edge and were hanging by a very flimsy vine, and one of your friends was very strong and sure-footed and the other was clumsy and not focused, which one would you be glad was there? Looking for the positive aspects is the way you find your sure footing. It is who you are from an inner perspective. And as you consistently align with increasingly better feeling thoughts, the powerful resources of the universe become available to you. To sympathize with others means to focus upon their situation until you feel as they feel. And since everyone has the potential of feeling wonderful or feeling awful, of succeeding at their desires or of failing at their desires, you have options about which aspects of them you sympathize with. We encourage you to sympathize with the best feeling aspects of others that you can find, and in doing so, you may influence them to an improved condition also. To not hurt when they feel hurt? A man once asked, how do you end a relationship without being hurt by the other person being hurt? If you decide that it's time to move on and the other person is not ready to move on, so he or she is very distraught, how can you keep your balance in a situation like that? We replied, when you attempt to guide your behavior by paying attention to how someone else feels about your behavior, you are powerless because you cannot control his or her perspective. And therefore you cannot achieve any consistent improvement in your own vibration or point of attraction or how you feel. If you have decided to take the action of leaving a relationship before you have done the vibrational work of focusing upon what you want and why you want it, any action that you take can only bring you more of the same discomfort that you have been experiencing. And even once the relationship is ended and you are alone or beginning another relationship with another person, those old lingering negative vibrations will not allow a pleasant unfolding. Simply put, it is so much better to find your vibrational balance before you take the action of separation, or you may experience a rather long time of discomfort. Let us examine the components of this situation and bring some clarity to your options. You have come to the conclusion as a result of being unhappy in this relationship for a while that it would be better to end it. In other words, you do believe that your chance of happiness is greater outside of the relationship than inside it. But when you announce that to your partner becomes even more unhappy. And now, because your partner is more unhappy, you are more unhappy. One option is to stay, to say, never mind, don't be unhappy. I've changed my mind. I'll stay. But all that has happened is that you were both feeling unhappy. You made a decision to leave, which made your partner even more unhappy. And now you have pulled back from that decision, so your partner is now not quite as unhappy as before, but still neither of you are happy. So nothing has changed except that things got a bit more intense for a while. but basically you are still unsatisfied and unhappy in this relationship. Another option is just leave. You could focus upon all of the things that have caused you to feel uncomfortable in the relationship and use those things as your justification for leaving. And while that negative focus upon negative things will give you the conviction to take the action of leaving, you will not really feel that much better. While you may feel some relief from the intensity of your unhappiness once you're on the outside of the relationship, you will continue to feel a need to justify your action of leaving, which will continue to hold you in an unpleasant state. So even though you have walked away from the things that were really bothering you, you will still feel bothered. Really, there is nothing that you can do to prevent others from feeling bad, because they do not feel bad because of your behavior. There is no greater entrapment in relationships or in life than to attempt to keep others happy by observing their emotions and then trying to compensate with your actions. The only way you can be happy is to decide to be happy. When you take upon yourself the responsibility of another's happiness, you are attempting the impossible, and you are setting yourself up for a great deal of personal discord. So now, let us consider the options of pivoting in positive aspects. Stay where you are for now, making no big change in your action or behavior. In other words, if you are living together, continue to do so. If you're spending time together, continue to do so. This option is a change in your thought process, not your action process. These processes are designed to help you focus differently and to begin telling the story of your relationship or of your life in a better feeling, more empowering, self-empowering way. For example, I've been thinking about leaving this relationship because I find that I'm not happy within it. But as I think about leaving, I realize that when I go, I take myself with me. And if I leave because I'm unhappy, I'll be taking that unhappy person with me. The reason that I want to leave is because I want to feel good. I wonder if it's possible to feel good without leaving. I wonder if there's anything good about our relationship that I could focus upon that does feel good. I remember meeting this person and how that felt. I remember feeling drawn by this person and eager to move forward to see what more we might discover together. I liked that feeling of discovery. I liked our relationship as it began. I think that the more time we spent together, the more we both realized that we were not really a perfect match. I don't believe that there is any failure on either of our parts in that. Not being a perfect match doesn't mean that either of us is wrong. It only means that there are potentially better partners out there for each of us. There are so many things about this person that I like and that anyone would easily appreciate. So smart and interested in so many things, laughs easily and loves to have fun. I'm glad that we've come together, and I believe our time together will prove to be of value to both of us. So, our answer to your important question is this. You cannot control the pain that any other feels by modifying your behavior. You can, however, control your own pain by directing your thoughts until your pain subsides and is replaced by improved feelings. As you give your attention to what you are wanting, you will always begin to feel good. As you give your attention to the lack of what you are wanting, you will always feel bad. And if you give your attention to the lack of what someone else is wanting, you will feel bad also. You are so action-oriented as physical beings that you really think that you have to fix everything right now. Your partner did not get to this place all of a sudden. Your partner did not even get there only during your relationship. This has been a long path. Momentum has been gathering along the way. And so do not expect that the conversation that you two are having in this moment is going to make all of the difference. See yourself as one who is planting a seed, a very strong, sure, powerful seed. You have planted it perfectly, and you have nurtured it for a time with your words, so that long after you are gone, that seed will continue to blossom into that which it is to be. There are many relationships that are not appropriate for you to continue, but we would never walk out of a relationship feeling angry, guilty, or defensive. Do the vibrational work. Get to feeling good, and then leave. And then what comes next will not be a replay of what you have just left. I am not responsible for others' creations. You must not accept the responsibility for what others are doing in their own life experience. See them as emerging from the lack, and know that it is going to be better for them later, and then you will begin to feel better. You may even inspire them in their sleep state to an improved direction. When you think about them, see them as happy. Do not regurgitate in your mind the sad conversations you have had or the parting. Envision them as getting on with their life just as you are getting on with yours. Trust that they have the guidance within them to find their own way. What trips most of you up so often in your wanting to help others is that you believe they need my help because they cannot help themselves. But that belief is detrimental to them because deep down inside, they know that they can do it and that they are wanting to do it. Begin to say things to your partner such as, "You are such a fantastic person, and while we haven't connected on as many levels as I would like, I know that there is a perfect partner waiting for you, and I'm releasing you to that wonderful opportunity. Look for it. I don't want to keep you caged here, captive to something that neither of us wants. I want to free us both to that which we are both wanting. I'm not telling you goodbye forever. I'm saying, let this relationship have a new understanding between us, one that is inspired from passionate, positive desire, not one that is whipped into place because we are afraid of the possible consequences." And then say to the person, "When I think of you, I will always know that while you are sad now, you are going to be happy later. I'm going to choose to see you as happy because that's the way I like you best, and that's what you prefer too." This may sound tough or cold, but nothing else makes sense. Listen for guidance or reach for good feelings. You have the ability to pivot under any and all conditions. It does not matter how negative something seems. You have the ability to give your attention to the positive aspects of it. The only things that get in your way are some old habits, or maybe some strong influences from others. Most people are habitual in nature, and your patterns are so well entrenched that at times the fastest path to the joy you seek is for you to take your pivot as you sleep, and then awaken in the new day already in the direction of that which you are wanting. By reaching for the good feeling thoughts before you go to sleep and then experiencing the benefit in the quiet mind that occurs while you sleep, and then upon awakening immediately turning to good feeling thoughts, you can accomplish the ultimate pivoting experience. A few days of following that pattern will provide a big change in your habit of thought and your point of attraction, and you will discover improvement in virtually every aspect of your life. Sounds like what I just said at the start of the call. Isn't that wild? What if I played the what if game? As we encourage that you do your best to find positive aspects upon whatever subject is before you, there are often those who would ask, but what about the man who just lost his job and has a wife and 5 children? His rent is due in 2 days and he doesn't have the money to pay it. Or what about the woman who has the Gestapo army at her door about to take her to be killed in a gas chamber? How can these people pivot? To those extreme questions we often reply, it is as if you have just jumped out of an airplane at an altitude of 20,000 feet and you have no parachute, and you ask, so now what do I do? You are usually not faced with such extreme circumstances from which it seems there is no possible comfortable escape. However, these extreme situations, with all of the drama and trauma that they bring, also bring a power that with the right focus can provide resolution that someone watching from the outside would find astonishing or even miraculous. In other words, there is no situation from which you cannot find a positive resolution, but you have to be able to focus powerfully in order to accomplish such a solution. Most people who are in those kinds of situations are not adept at that kind of focus, which is why they are experiencing the negative situation to begin with. When you are involved in extreme situations, a power comes forth from within, and so the intensity of your desire will put you upon a plateau where if you can just get focused, you can have your greater elevation. In other words, those who are very sick are in a better position to be even more well than most others because their desire for wellness is amplified. But unless you are able to pivot, to turn their attention to their desire for wellness and away from their concern about illness, they cannot become well. We would encourage you to play the what-if game, looking for positive aspects. In other words, rather than looking into your society for examples of disempowered people having no control over the circumstance of their life, tell a story that gives you a feeling of empowerment. Instead of telling the story of powerless victims and thereby amplifying your own feeling of also being a victim, tell a different story. For example, what if this woman, before the Gestapo army came pounding on her door, had recognized the rumblings of the looming Holocaust they were in the community weeks before? What if she had left that community when many of the others had left? What if she had not been afraid of the unknown? What if she had not held to the familiar? What if she had made the decision to start a new life in a new country with her sister and her aunt and uncle 2 weeks ago so that she was not at home when the Gestapo came calling? When you play the what-if game, look for things that you do want to see. Look for things that make you feel better. There is never a situation in which there is not a way out. In fact, there are hundreds and thousands of practical choices along the way. But out of habit, most people continue to choose the lack perspective in situations until they eventually find themselves in an unwanted place where it seems that there are no more choices. As you hold to your intentions to look for evidence of well-being and thriving and success and happiness, you will tune yourself to the vibrations of those things. And so those kinds of good feeling experiences will dominate your life. Today, no matter where I am going, no matter what I am doing, it is my dominant intent to look for what I am wanting to see. As you make the decision that you are not a mere observer of your world, but a deliberate and positive contributor to your world, you will find great pleasure in your involvement with what is going on upon your planet. When you witness things that you do not want to happen in your world, to your nation, in your neighborhood, or in your family, or in your personal body, and you remember that you have the power to tell a different story, and also know that there is an enormous power in telling a different story, you will then step back into the exuberant knowledge that you held when you made the decision to come forth to participate on this planet to begin with. You cannot be in a place other than where you are right now, but you do have the power to begin to express your perspective about where you are in increasingly better ways. And as you do that consciously and deliberately, you will see the evidence of the power of your focus on every subject to which you turn your attention. As you make the decision that you want to feel good and you consciously look for positive aspects within the subjects that you are involved in every day, and as you deliberately identify and focus upon what you do want regarding those subjects, you will set yourself upon a path of eternal unfolding satisfaction and joy. These processes are simple to understand and to apply, but do not let their simplicity cause you to underestimate their power. Consistently apply them and show yourself the leverage of the power of aligned thought. Discover the power of the energy that creates worlds, the power that you have always had ready access to, but which you now understand how to apply, and focus it towards your own personal creations. Well, I don't know if there's really any need for conversation today. This is kind of a lackluster challenge here. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc Fran. Well, I'm glad that we can laugh here and there, because I can see that with just this reading that we have done today, we can revise our entire life. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so, deep. And one of the things that really calls my attention is this aspect of not being responsible for the feelings of others, like you're in charge of your own experience. And if someone is in pain and you feel the pain, it's not their pain, it's really your pain. That's why you have the power to embrace it, release it, and look for a more positive story or aspect of this, So it's like, wow, I was like, amazing how to apply this in every aspect, and one of the things that I was also touched a lot is how everything is an illusion, like I get the concept of this realm, like it's really an illusion. We can focus on what we want, and to play the lila, or like the illusion, to have the dream that we want to have, So it's like, wow. And then another thing that I'm just thinking, I think this, just what we have read today, we can spend like, every line like hours here. But the aspect of not one of the things that I learned about entrepreneurs, that are looking for success and to really manifest what they want and to be successful, is to stop the complaint and to stop the, like to see the faults and this tendency to fix everything. I mean, I can see myself there, like it's really I'm getting it today with more depth, because it's really a choice, it's really a choice. I mean, I'm the one writing the story here, I'm the one really writing what I'm seeing, and it's such I feel like humble, it's like, oh my gosh. So I would love to see if someone has something to comment here, to deepen in, to integrate all this information as much as we can, even though, is to take 100% responsibility of our experience, and to stop being the victims to begin with from the people outside you, and to realize that it's your own story, and we can engage with our experiences looking for what it is that I really want to see here. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful. Okay, so who would like to share? Open your microphone if you're ready, and let's see if we can. I can see Mr. Arne. 1 second. Welcome, welcome. Celio, go for it.
Your voice disappeared, Monica. Now it's okay. Can you hear me?
Very well, very well.
It's a fascinating, chapter or part or whatever, and everything was Dr. Frank was reading. I found totally essential, and it's so important to understand. For example, when they're saying that because it happens all the time, that we have this tendency to sympathize with the client, with the relative, with the situation, and we get immediately in the trap, and then we are in the trap, feeling as they're feeling, and that's not not a good place to be. And I think it's very deep to understand, that we don't have to sympathize with that person, that situation. That doesn't mean we don't have a heart, but there's another way to react in finding and looking for what I want to feel in that moment. And of course, I'm going to be much more helpful for the person or the situation, because otherwise it can be a person, it can be a whole country. Like right now in Spain, it's very intense. I don't know, Monica, I mean, I'm sure you're aware. I mean, tomorrow, not only in Spain, the whole of Europe and part of the world is putting their attention in what's going on in a part of Spain, in Barcelona, for example. So the whole atmosphere, is so easy to get involved in that. For me, so challenging. Here I am, I want to practice what I'm learning from Abraham and from this mastermind. I don't want to be, immersed. Yes, I will be aware, but I'm not going to be help of getting into this, feeling of whatever, is going on around in my country. And, it could be the country, it could be the family, it could be the business or the situation. So I think it's very powerful this learning of no, I don't want to be in that lack, because immediately I am in the lack, in the not having that feeling, that experience that I want to have. And it's so subtle, and I just experienced it today. I mean, when we started the mastermind, it's not that I was getting into this, but into any other situation of anything. And as Dr. Fran was reading, was so powerful, because I can see that the pivoting and the what if and all these exercises that Abraham is talking about, we can put them in the practice immediately, and in very little time, and then we can be aligned again and experiencing. I love when Dr. Fran was reading, and he was joyful, and he was laughing, and it was like so contagious. And I really, immediately I pivoted. I did the pivoting without questioning how I'm going to do the pivot. No, it was immediate response. So I think it's so powerful and so deep. It's very deep, the understanding that in order to find myself in the place that I want to be, and to do the situation and the business and the whatever, I don't want to be, and I'm not going to be in the lack. I'm not going to sympathize vibrationally with that. I'm going to sympathize vibrationally with my own internal feeling that I just want to wake up. And like he was reading again, in the end they were saying, I want today to see what I want to see, and to find the situations that I want to find, and have a deep, deep understanding of that. And it really is very powerful. Monica, as you were saying, this is life-changing. This book is life-changing. Just this part that we read today can change a complete life, can change a life. I mean, when we get into business in the next day, we're going to see when they talk about money and the whole thing. But with this understanding, and also, with the whole relationship, we can apply it to a relationship of love or a business relationship. And it's so wise, the teachings of Abraham, just to understand that I just want to feel in alignment with myself. I don't want to sympathize with that person, because sometimes even in business, to me, it's very normal. I'm just there and just I just get so much into the other person's mind that I'm just working his vibration. No way. This is so powerful, because I have to keep strong in my own vibration. This is my main teaching today. And by being strong in my own vibration, it's my power. Otherwise, forget it.
Exactly. Wow, Celio, so beautiful and powerful, and I think if I sense what you were saying here, the experience that you are going through, to change from, in the beginning we start being the victim, in quotes, of the situation, because we're accustomed to, let's say, but like you said, you take your power back and say, hold a second, hold a second here. Let me see what is really going on here. Can you hear? Yes. And what can I do about what it is that I want to see, what it is that I want to put my attention in? And it's a mastery, like you were saying right now, Celio, it's like to catch yourself in the process of, I can switch it, and then to practice again and again and again. So I think, it's a matter of being honest with ourselves, and to realize that if you are feeling, is really your feeling to begin with. So you capture your own individuality. And I think, like all of us, that we are so spiritually oriented, or in love to truth, capital letter, whatever, we have this dilemma between individuality, and oneness, and feeling everything around, and we are so sensitive, So at this moment is to have the right to have your individuality, like to have the right for you to feel good in the middle of this chaos where everybody is nurturing something else, right? So I just honor you, Celio, because this is the real practice, like to catch yourself in the moment, to be humble enough. Okay, hold a second. Let's see what I'm feeling here. This is not feeling good. What can I say? What story I can tell myself inside, and that reflects what I want to see, instead of being the victim of what we see. Oh my gosh, I think we are getting it.
I want to add, Monica, and 1 second, because I was talking of the example of Spain, but right now, it's a whole world. I mean, things are going on in America, things are going on in the Middle East, things are going on in the economy. A lot of it's going on because the energy is very intense. So I think it's so crucial to understand that my main objective is to be in that what I want for myself, and that's a way to be of service to the planet, not only to my own business and around, but it's very deep because it's global. It's not, yeah, I'm making up some situation here. It's happening around the world. It's so intense. And in the beginning of the mastermind, I was like, oh my God, not victim, but I was feeling all the energy that is going on. And then as Dr. Fran read, I realized, no way. Yeah, that's true. But I want to, I pivot right now. And that's what's so powerful,
Exactly. Thank you, Celio, so much. Beautiful. Arna, you were on the line here, like opening the microphone?
Sure. And it's good to hear your transformation there, Celio. You getting it, got it there in the moment. And I had this morning, I was observing a success that showed up that I don't. Success means more than I usually have, and I noticed a resistance. I noticed like, wow, this is great, but wait. I'm not used to that. So I caught myself red-handed with the habit of what used to be my success level or my habit, my way of being. And I noticed a resistance to move into this new way of experiencing. And it was really weird, and I just realized that is one of the learnings we have to do, is not only to get the success, but also to be able to accept it when it shows up. And I actually remember I've heard that here and there over the years, but it really hit home today with that one. And a few other comments and topics here about what we're reading, and about others' pain, and to get caught in that. And I think that's a huge trap that we have, that humanity has, especially if there is someone close to us, and then we start to fight for that should not be happening again, or we need to do this other thing instead, and we're really taking on arms and start to fight and be rebels and be against, which then we are actually creating more of that, which we know here. But even us here, we come with the idea that, or we come with the new age kind of thinking. We come with the new better way, and then we are against the politics. We're against the global warming. We're against the banking system. We're against. So we're actually exactly the same as everybody else, just a different topic. So I think we need to be aware of that what is said in this book is actually what is true. To feel good, and when we are against something, that is not a true feeling good. That might be a little a fight instinct, and I'm ready and I'm good and feeling that, but that's not feeling peaceful and good and expression of more inspiration to other people. And regarding they talked a lot about not leaving a relationship until you feel good in it. And I think you and Monica and myself have been extreme examples in that we have had several times that, like, this is over. Hey, I don't want to be here no more. I'm out of here. And we've been together now 20 years, and we've really had some strong times. But every time we said, okay, we're not going to leave now. You know, we're gonna leave when we feel peaceful and we feel good. Then we do it. And every time we got into feeling peaceful and that wave of struggle came in, and disagreement and opposition, when that ended, well, then there was no more reason to leave. So we've been actually been going on together for a long time. Um, uh, Here's another topic that was addressed, that we can't change how other people feel. And I remembered that in business, especially in the business that we are in, network marketing and team building, that when we are inspiring another person, we have heard the words there. For a person that wants something, there is nothing wrong you can say to them for them to go away. And for a person who does not want something, there is nothing right you can say for them to come in and join you. So no, we cannot affect other people. We cannot get them in and join us. We can only live our own life and share that life, and sometimes that life, that beingness that we are, fits other people, but that we cannot make that happen. That will just be there when that happens. And the last thing I want to address is actually I will almost like a, not correction, but a more advanced phase for me. In the book they were talking about we should start to use the word what if this new situation, it could be in a different way than I see it. And in a way that's good. It's a question, but there is a better way, and when this book was written, this better way was probably not in existence or known, and that is a different kind of question. And instead of what if this lady was not, the Gestapo did not knock on her door. Well, what if? Well, then maybe she will have a bankruptcy. You know, so with the what if question, it's actually possible to answer negatively, even though sometimes we answer positively. A way to guarantee that we answer positively is a different kind of question, and we call it the creative questions. So if we put in, I have $1 million. No, I don't. Okay, what if I have $1 million? Well, then I have to pay a lot of taxes. What if I have $1 million? Well, then maybe somebody can steal it. But if I, instead of putting what if, I put why could I have $1 million? Well, I'm a good person. Why could I have $1 million? Well, there's plenty of money on the planet. So instead of using what if, I recommend using could or would in that sentence. That cuts the mind from arguing, and it opens an only positive way of thinking. So creative questions is explaining that very well. creativequestions.com actually. So I think that will be a good thing for us. And thank you.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Arne. I love it. I mean, I think, you know, we are really mastering, and I love creative questions. You have to check it out, guys. www.creativequestions.com, because it is really a beautiful tool, you know, to educate, to entertain your mind. Our minds are working constantly. Now we can be the victim of it, or we can start to play with it, you know, and to direct, you know, like that's what I would like to focus on, like Abraham Hicks is teaching us here, you know, like focus on the positive aspect, focus on what you want to see, not on what you are seeing here, you know. So thank you for that, Arne. You said so many powerful things here. I mean, it's so amazing. But I see Candace with the microphone open, so please, welcome.
I think, well, Arne, good point. I really appreciate the creative questions. I'm another one that recommends everybody go to that website and come to understand what's going on there, because it's beautiful and transformative. And I think, and it brings up a great point that is dear to my heart, and that is how we use our language as a part of our creativity. You know, the difference between what if and would or could is a great example, because it offers us the opportunity to pay attention to what we're saying in order to bring that greater joy, to us what we want. And that's been a practice of mine actually for many years. Always improving. Boy, it's an ongoing thing. But I think it's one of the most important areas for us to pay attention to what we're doing. If we can listen to ourselves, then we can sometimes catch ourselves and say, oh, that's not where I'm headed. I want to go over here, and change it. So anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about, but I got going. The part that really touched me today was about not being responsible for somebody else's reality. I raised my triplet granddaughters for 8 years, from the time they were tiny until they were 8. And then they had to go live in another house with a different relative. And, you know, I didn't want to give up my mom job. And to this day, these kids, they're doing all right. You know, it's very different from how their life with me would have been. It's very different. And so part of my walk has been to encourage myself to not judge, to not think of the downside, to think of the upside, and to really bring myself to that actually neutral point of, you know, I love my life, I love those are the people they're 3 of my favorite people on this whole planet. So to send them my most positive thoughts, and because they are bubbling up within me about me and my life, and it just naturally flows over into my thoughts about them, into what I say to them or write to them, or however I communicate with them and the people that they're with. So that has been one of my decisions that I've made that I found both very liberating, also very challenging at times. And there's been plenty to invite me to head in the other direction, let's put it that way. And and yet I keep bringing myself back. This is good. This is good. And that statement of trusting others, that they have the guidance to find their own way, is a huge release. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm free. I am free, and they're fine. They have the same excellent quality guidance that I do, and I really trust my guidance. I love my guidance. I appreciate it, and I do my best to listen. And when I don't listen, which also is an important part of the path, I get to find out why it would have been wise to have listened. So it's all good. It's all heading in the right direction. I am just really grateful we're doing this here together. This is a great thing, and let's do more of it.
Thank you, Candace. Beautiful and real life. You know, I mean, I love to hear example. What you said with your granddaughters. You know, like to me, same thing. We can focus on our business. You know, and there is a moment we go through the story. You know, that something can be bad for them, or you know, like in our case, to me, I remember with the companies. You know, like suddenly I start to see things that are wrong. You know, and I focus on that, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like here we are again. And I'm understanding now more and more, you know, okay, I'm the one creating my life here, you know, so what do I want to see? What do I want to see? Do I want to trust the people in the company? So I'm working on really focusing on what it is that we want, you know, or that I want in this case. So I love what you said, because it's so human. That's our choice. We are always dancing, you know, between what we think about, all thinking, you know, fearful, scarcity, whatever it is, or trusting that they have their guidance, like everything is good in some frequency, and it's my job to rise my frequency, rise and shine. I love that slogan from Micronet, but to rise to that frequency, so then my vision goes to this higher frequency, instead of being trapped in the lower one. And one thing that I wanted to share, because I think, can inspire us, for sure me, last week I had a friend that lost her mom, and she received the news without preparation, and she was in my house. So accidentally, in quotes or whatever, but she went to this super shock, imagine, like non-expected, and suddenly blah, blah. So she started to cry and to really go through this shock, hysterical, oh my God. And I remember how I took her, I put my hand on the back, and I start to really embody my spirit in the body, like to really be present. No stories in my head. And we were quiet, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. She was laying down there, and, like just my hand supporting her to breathe or something like that. And I'm saying that because in our own unfoldment here, I think to master these emotions that we have, because I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, I could be, being afraid of death and being, oh my God, don't feel that way, or I would like to fix her because I will feel uncomfortable. But the truth is, I was not uncomfortable at all. I was peaceful, like super connected with trusting that, this experience has some light at the core, like everything else, So to me, to keep unfolding, and I remember Catherine Ponder that we studied so dearly, together, to do meditation, to learn how to be still, to unfold that presence, that silence, because when we engage, like you were talking, Celio, about Spain or whatever, and I can engage from this level, or I can engage or question, how my higher self, how the higher aspect of myself will engage with this situation, And that a higher aspect of us is complete trust. All is well. That's the frequency, And to have the courage to embody that and to vibrate it and to shine it, So I don't know, I felt very touched by it. And of course, this woman after sent me a beautiful message about, my gosh, that moment I will never forget, how I could allow myself and how peaceful we ended up, because, she ended up, oh my gosh, So let's keep going here. I don't know, Dr. Frank, if you want to say something before we close our session today, but I just have to say, like, wow, what a session and how powerful we are, really. Yes, Dr. Frank, I can see.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. It was real. Did I turn it on? What's going on here? Oh.
I can hear you. It's good.
All right, there we go. I'm on. Yeah, a fabulous discussion, and I have some things. Again, I just love what I learn every week from playing my little part in this, and then listening to all of these creative consciousnesses coming to the forefront. So, I don't know where to start. I'm going to start at the beginning because everybody touched on things that were very important. For Celio, it's very interesting, and it's very easy for us to focus on this phenomenon that, oh my God, the sky is falling, that the world is in a total mess, and it's coming to a head, and it's coming to a head right now. And, all I can say is that step back one more notch and look at the historical perspective, and as you read history, you become aware of the fact that our world, as we know it, has been on the brink of destruction for all of recorded history. And in my own personal world, I have lived the last 62 years under the threat of imminent nuclear annihilation by, choose the company of your choice or country of your choice that's going to be the instrument that detonates the bomb. And I find it ironic that in all of recorded history, the only country on this planet that has actually exploded nuclear bombs was the United States to end World War II. So, and it's also important to note that that event ended a war that would have been continually protracted for a number of years more, but it did not end the world. So, you know, that's where I find the consolation, because if you focus on what's wrong, it's very easy to go downtone, and then you start thinking that, you know, how can you be negative about the future if you have children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren? And you simply can't be. Those are mutually exclusive states of being. Arnie raised some beautiful points about, you know, fear of abundance. You know, oh my God, what if I get this? God, then I can lose it. Well, you know, there's a line in popular music that says, when you ain't got nothing, you got nothing to lose. And there's some consolation and solace in that. So maybe there's happiness in the lack of physical substance in this life, etc. So, you know, Monica brought up two really beautiful points that I think are important, and she talked about emotions, and Celio talked about emotions, and we all talk about emotions, and I want to really emphasize that emotions in and of themselves are not bad or evil or detrimental. I mean, when this woman learned the fact that her mother just died, she immediately went into a very strong, powerful grief, negative emotion on one scale. And yet, it is the entirely appropriate emotion for that situation. And it's the appropriate response for any normal person to feel a negative emotion in the appropriate situations. The problem is not emotions. The problem is misemotions, and that is when you feel an emotion that's inappropriate for the situation you're experiencing. That brings me back to the most important thing I think that Monica elucidated for us today. And it occurred to me, we're talking about changing our thoughts, changing our realities, and people may not have a consciousness that we do in fact have the ability to change our reality or to create. Well, let me back up. We have 90% of the people, I would hazard maybe 70% today, I don't know, have no consciousness that they can create their own reality, let alone change it. So maybe an easier thing to do is back to that spot where we start to talk about the reality, quote, or the belief, let's put it that way, that all observed life and events are illusions. And if we adopt the posture that everything we are seeing is an illusion, which even in the physical plane is absolutely the truth, because we only see what our limited perceptive abilities are able to, quote, see or perceive in this universe, which is the accumulations of energies at different vibrations that we perceive as either solid, liquid, or gas. And so if all life is an illusion, which is what I totally believe, and if you don't believe you can change your, quote, realities, then maybe we should urge people to change their illusions. That may be a little more palatable to them and move them in that gradient, because we've talked a number of times, and Abraham has pointed out, I learned very, very strongly in our studies of Scientology for 13 years that the gradient is one of the most important steps in the continuum of forward motion. And one of the stops to continued forward motion in any cycle of action is a phenomenon known as too steep a gradient. So when you encounter that, the correction for it is to back up and find the gradient that allows you to continue up the mountain. the saying or euphemism in life is baby steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So with that, I think we're really doing a good job of digesting this elephant, and I'm certainly happy that I have so many other mouths at the table with me to enjoy this abundant and endless meal. Back to you, Monica.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fran. This elephant is delicious. But like I can see, like, oh my gosh, because it's so, like important, I would say, or really touches all the aspects of our lives, So I love that we are supporting each other here. And there is a sentence I remember, I think from our 40 Days Abundance program, Arne, that says something like that, like take your attention off the world, and stay focused on what it is that you want. And sometimes, it's almost like, oh, but if I don't see the world, no, but you see your inner world, that is what is going to create the world, that you want to see later. So we are mastering all of that, and I can see that there is amazing, it's very empowering to have the support and to be all here, like-minded, oriented in wanting the same thing. So thank you so much, guys, for being, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And thank you, the ones that you are seeing this recording. And remember, if you want to be part of this panel, you have to send an email to Arne, A-R-N-E, @unlimitednetwork.com, so he can send you the special link to be part of this and to engage and to offer your gifts and wisdom. We are all in the same boat. And I really believe that the change is individual. But the more people change individually, the more we are going to change this world that we perceive. So thank you so much for being so committed to this. Yes, the page. Thank you, Candace. We are going to start next week. We are going to start the part 2 of this book, and we begin on the page 61, just for you to know. So maybe it's a good week to revise this first section, and then we are going to go right into attracting money and manifesting abundance. So let's see what Abraham has to teach us. I see you next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.